Hey everyone. All right. Um yeah, I'm just going to do a live stream while I kind of draw for my zine that I have on Kickstarter. It's the first time I've ever done a Kickstarter, so kind of nervous, but I also don't have my hopes up. So, we'll see how it goes. But I thought it'd be fun to just kind of draw and talk about the idea behind my Kickstarter, why I chose to use OpenD6 as the system as opposed to something else, and that's about it. So if you see me looking over to my right, it's because I have like a reference picture there, which I kind of don't like the position it's in. I'm gonna move it there. So like, um, I decided to do this Kickstarter just for fun, more for the experience of doing a sort of larger zine, because ultimately it's going to end up being 64 pages, give or take, as opposed to say my zine Beyond the Twisted Portal, which is kind of the standard 24 pages. But Beyond the Twisted Portal is not a full system, whereas Among the Corpses, I'm hoping it will be, well, hoping it will be a full system. But it's a system that's already sort of, in the ether. It's out there. I'm using OpenD6, which is basically the system that the West End Games Star Wars is. The OpenD6 was created when West End Games decided when West End Games went under, they released the system under the OGL so that anyone could use it. And it's a really good system. It's fast, super simple to use, and I think I think more people should be using it because it's a fun system. So let us start drawing. So this is not a normal piece of paper. This is actually a backing board for comic books. I realized when I started doing Beyond the Twisted Portal that I like drawing on these because I can use markers on it and it doesn't bleed through. It's a nice flat white and it stays like, firm. And it's also a like perfect size for the scanner, which is great. So, Among the Corpses is basically a zombie apocalypse survival game. Uh, I want to try and integrate sort of that old school exploration sensibilities to a zombie horror survival game, meaning that you'll be a party of people, just normal people, because OpenD6 doesn't really have classes. Um, you'll be just adventuring, or not adventuring, but so much as like trying to make your way through the world that's plagued with zombies of all sorts. Won't be your typical zombie where all the zombies are just kind of the same. There's going to be some craziness there, and then of course there's also the other humans in the world that may have gone a little nutty in the apocalypse. So first we're going to start with drawing our shape. I think I'm just going to do this as a head-on looking zombie. So we're going to start with the shoulders here. I'm using a red pencil because I like to use red pencil to begin with, and then I'll go over it with regular pencil. And then I will ink over it. The interior of the zine is going to be black, white, and red. Or maybe I'll show you guys what I have so far of the interior of the magazine later on. So this guy is going to be, let's give him, I'm not great at drawing. So one of the major things of why I generally don't do Kickstarters and stuff is because I I imagine a lot of backers expect a certain level of, like slickness to it, but I figured for Zine Quest, I can go a little punk rock, do the art myself, and people who like that style will gravitate to it, hopefully, and people who don't just, they won't. That's all right. You see, I have like, I'm not a good artist, so that's partly why I'm not super into the idea of doing like backed zines or full games because I just don't do the art and I don't have the time or the money to hire artists for my zines. Maybe in the future I'll do one where I can hire a professional artist, do professional layouts, but right now all my stuff is very much in that, kind of punk rock. I'm doing it myself. If the art sucks, the art kind of sucks, but at least the game should be good. With any luck. Alright, so this guy's. I don't like how that. I don't like what that arm's doing. I might have shot myself in the foot with using the red. Because if I erase it, might not all come out. And then when I scan it, it won't look great. But it is what it is. So I'm trying to go a little light here. Let's just. This is going to be kind of gnawed at. This is going to be a bone. I got these fingers. Kind of the nice thing about doing zombies is like, you know what? It doesn't have to look amazing. They can look kind of screwed up and not perfect because they are, the dead, right? You got a bone popping out there. I don't want them to look kind of too buff. It's got to look kind of emaciated. I want this shirt to be kind of hanging off of them. Now, I don't know how long this stream's going to be because I hurt my back again. So sitting for a long period of time is actually kind of painful. There, weird bend to the leg. Okay, now so I want basically if we look at what his body would look like, it would kind of look like this. If this is a rib cage, then it would just be like that, like super emaciated. So there's gotta be a lot of wrinkles and stuff in his shirt. It's kind of just hanging off of him. Hey, Jason. I mean, if you wish you could draw, just draw. Doesn't matter how good you are, just do it. I am far from being any kind of like competent artist. This is going to be kind of hanging more like that. So, like, the way I do it is Like I do a very sketchy style, and then I'll go over it with marker. Well, I'll go over it with pencil to get more of like a solid outline, and then I'll go over it with marker and erase everything else. And I tend to hide how bad I am at it by adding a lot of black. Okay, so this is going to be. So what we're doing is I'm separating the head. I'm segmenting the head. So this line here is going to be where the eyes go. This is going to be where the nose goes. This is going to be where the mouth goes. The mouth is going to be kind of like. I want it to be almost like lipless. Actually, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's. Yes, back pain absolutely does suck. It's snowing here now, but we hire someone to clear our driveway, so I got tired of digging the snow. All right, so I want the face to be kind of emaciated too. So we got like his cheekbones are going to come in. I think that the trick with zombies is you want them to look skeletal without being skeletons, right? You don't want you're not drawing full on skeletons. I mean, you can, but even zombies kind of need some of that uh, muscle structure to actually function, whereas skeletons are more fantasy. They kind of just move via magic, whereas zombies are not. There's a kind of messed up ear. There's another messed up ear. Stick figures are embarrassing, eh? Some scraggly hair here. These teeth are going to be kind of all. So right now I'm using. This is a 2mm tip for the red, which makes it a little difficult to get the details you might want to get in. But you'll see afterwards when I go over with the pencil, it'll add some more of those details. Like I'll be able to add them. And this is going to be. The nose is like the first thing to go, right? When they're decaying. So that nose is going to come out like this. And it'll. These eyes, I'm going to put a lot of black around the eyes, and basically you're just going to see white with pinpoints. So there you go. That's kind of. That's kind of his jaw, his chin is a little long for my liking there. There we go. This is going to be all shaded in like that. So what I did for reference, I went through my Walking Dead magazines, my Walking Dead comics, and I just took pictures of panels that I liked, and I'm going to use them as sort of reference, not copy the images, but more just to get an idea of how to sort of draw these characters. This is going to be ripped open. We're going to show some ribs here. And this is going to be all kind of like gooey gunk. So there you go. We got our rough red. To mount my camera above my desk, I have a shelf that I put like pretty close to the ceiling, and then I have a just like a twisty, bendy arm that I can attach a webcam to, and it just like sort of clamps onto the shelf. It's pretty lo-fi. It's nothing spectacular. I think the bendy arm was like 20 something bucks. So it's not anything super technical or crazy. All right, so let's start with this. It's going to be a. There we go. I'm gonna grab this guy. So the way let's talk about OpenD6 for a bit. The way OpenD6 works is you have your attributes and skills, and basically it's kind of like a dice pool. You have a set number of dice that you can split among your attributes, and then then you pick your skills and you assign more dice to that. And essentially all you're doing is you're rolling those attributes or skills against a target number of like between easy and hard. So it's like a super simple system, and the reason I chose it is because I find it's not being used a lot, which I mean might be a con to choosing it, but I think it's something that I kind of want to see more people playing it because I think it's a fantastic system, and I think that there's a lot of good games that can be made using this system. It's incredibly versatile, far more versatile than something like 5e, because there are no classes, because it's very fast and you're not dealing with feats and stuff. You can decide what attributes work for the setting and the game that you want to play. So I think OpenD6 is kind of like hits a nice sweet spot of being old school and being very modifiable. Yeah, I guess modifiable is a word. Kind of hits that sweet old school spot of being like, can do whatever you want it to do. All right, this is going to be like a clump of flesh. Not entirely sure how I'm going to do that, but so, and the premise of Among the Corpses is that there's been a viral outbreak, much like COVID, where it just rapidly, crippled the world. And the bane of my existence, fingers. It kind of rapidly crippled the world and basically turned anyone recently dead into a zombie. Pretty simple. And then what I'm trying to do with it is I want to make it so that the game is encouraging players to um, find places of safety. So the premise is that there's these bastion cities that are sort of walled off from the infected and can kind of keep people safe. And that's essentially the goal. But of course, getting there is not going to be easy. You got to travel far and wide to get there and encounter all kinds of. Let's make this nail kind of long. Encounter, other people, zombies, obviously, and there might be, cults that are kind of grown up around this idea that there's, the dead are walking, so it may create some religious cults from that. And just generally, survive in this world to get to these bastion cities that can protect the party. Now, will they get there? Who knows? Another thing occurred to me, I have no idea what ribs look like, really. I assume they look something like this. Again, I'm not going for, perfection. I'm going for kind of gross and horrific. This will largely be black and red to kind of make it kind of hide it. There we go. Alright, I think that's suitably awful for that. So you see how I did the red, kind of sketched it out quickly. Now I'm going over it with a little more purpose with the pencil, and then we'll go over it even more with the pen. Alright, let's go with the neck. You know what? This is going to be kind of gnarly and gross too. Maybe he's got a bite on his neck there. Alright, let's do this. Now, I'm not quite sure how about that. So let's do these cheekbones. Kind of like that. We'll do shading there. We're going to do some shading here. Now you might see I'm putting like little areas where there's going to be some shading. When I finally go over it with the pen, there's going to be, I'll go in more depth. because I have a smaller size pencil now, I can kind of give a little more form to these teeth here. So the reason why I decided to do a like zombie apocalypse thing as opposed to, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'll do it with the pencil, with the pen after. I think I'm gonna take out those bottom teeth. I'm just gonna like black it out. Yeah. So the reason I decided on sort of a zombie apocalypse game is I rewatched all of the um, Resident Evil movies with my wife recently, and we were watching. I think it was the third one. I kind of started thinking about it with the second one, but the third one, when they're like kind of like in the desert there, that's when I was like, oh hey, this could be like really cool, because they're talking about finding this place that was not affected by zombies and it was safe. It was up in Alaska. I was like, oh, that would be really interesting to, create sort of a campaign where you're trying to survive, kind of like Walking Dead, where Walking Dead, they are sort of surviving in this world, but also they're surviving in the world in Walking Dead, but they are kind of stationary. They're not going anywhere. I mean, they move around a bit, but it's not like they are like actively searching for much. I mean, there may be a couple of seasons where they're looking for a certain settlement or whatever, but having that goal of, we need to find these bastion cities. They're all up north, because in like northern Canada, because I thought it'd be cool to do something where northern Canada is sort of like the goal. Excuse me. And then but also it would make sense, because the colder it is, the more likely zombies are to, not survive, or at least freeze to the point of being like not an issue. So I thought about that, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have the bastion cities, and then people are just, automatically going to be trying to get there. And then on top of that, we've got, okay, well, ammo, food, water, fuel, all of these things are now the most important things. There's money doesn't mean anything anymore. It's useless. So now all of these survival things are how people are trading and making their way, so that the game will have, a mechanic where you're purchasing something is going to require a roll on your bargaining or bartering skill, or whatever it is, and acquiring certain things is going to have a difficulty level, because, say, fresh water is probably the most valuable thing, because how much water are you going to know is fresh and free of disease and doesn't have a zombie lying in it, right? Ammunition as well is going to be very, very important, because you need to be able to fight off the zombies. Although firing your weapon is going to be loud, so maybe guns are not the most logical thing to use. Fuel. When you're traveling in a vehicle, you're going to have to plan for your fuel to either be able to replenish your fuel or get to where you're going with the fuel you have. So all of these things are things I'm working on top of, you know, porting over the OpenD6 rules. The SRD for OpenD6 is available free online, so you guys can check it out. The Among the Corpses is not going to have all of the rules. Like it'll have all the rules you need to play the game, but it won't have all of the OpenD6 rules. But if you go and find them, then you can easily implement those rules into the game without any issue. And there will be some rules that I've had to come up with specifically for this because they just simply don't exist in the OpenD6 system. Alright, so we got this guy's almost done here. Let's, let's rip up his jeans a little bit. Pockets. Like I said, I'm not the best artist in the world, obviously, but I'm hoping that the fact that this is sort of a one man show of the game, like the zine, it's like all done by me. It's written by me. It's drawn by me. Just like Beyond the Twisted Portal is, that it'll appeal to some people of being, kind of lo-fi punk rock, where a lot of zines are, they have a whole team behind them, which is great. Like, but that's not the kind of zine I can provide. So I am making the zine that I can make. All right, it's not bad. Yeah, it looks pretty good right now. So we are going to start going over this with some marker, well, black pen. Let's start with this one. This is a very thin black pen line. See how this turns out. This is the first time I've done art for the zine where I did the red outline first. I normally do it for sketching, but it's the first time I've done this for art that is going to end up in the book. So we'll see how it goes. It might not be something I do again for the book. Alright. And I decided this because this is my first Kickstarter, and I don't have any delusions that make thousands of dollars. I think the funding goal is $300. If it makes that, then I'll be happy. But this one, I'm only releasing it as a PDF. I might eventually release the whole. I might eventually release it as a print on demand, but not for the Kickstarter, just because I don't want to. I don't want to have to deal with that stuff my first time around. It might mean that some people don't back it because they want, um, they're gonna want their physical copies, which I get. That's fine. It's just not something I can provide this time around. All right. Now, if you've seen Beyond the Twisted Portal, you know I do a lot of gory stuff in that book. A lot of the art is pretty gnarly. And a lot of it, I think, I like this is a lot of it is sort of implied gore. Some of it is straight up gnarly, but I like the implication. I like having pieces of art that kind of tell a story, but maybe it's like just after something that happened or just before. Like I think that's what happens in a lot of uh, TTRPG things. Is a lot of the art it'll show kind of something that just happened or is about to happen. Like you might see like an adventurer in a dungeon and the axe is coming down. Um, in the last issue of Beyond the Twisted Portal, like I had an axe like straight up going through some guy, which was kind of cool. And hands are not something I'm good at. Again, the fun thing about zombies is it needs to be somewhat anatomically correct, but it also kind of needs to be. It can be sort of wonky and misshapen because they're zombies, so you might be missing some parts. And I think the OpenD6 system, I don't I don't have a ton of experience with it. I played a solo session of the Star Wars role playing game, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, everyone died. All my characters died except for one. But like in the first combat with stormtroopers, they all got shot. But it showed me how fast and fun that system can be. And when I started looking into it, I started realizing how versatile it is. And that's what made me decide that I was going to use that for this. Like, I had no intention of. Like, I was thinking about doing a kind of zombie apocalypse game, but I didn't have a system in mind. I was just like, how would I do this? And then I played. I looked at the OpenD6 system. I really liked it. I think it works because there's no classes, because everyone's supposed to be a normal person, right? So the way you have a type, so that you can say, oh well, I'm a bold school teacher. Okay, so you choose your abilities and your skills based on that. What would a bold school teacher know? What would this person know, like in their private life, that they would be capable of doing? Like, do they do a lot of camping? Okay, so maybe they have some survival skills. You can add a dice to the survival. Things like that, and it allows you to kind of create these characters that would maybe live in the space and seem real and are not superheroes, which is what I think this is, a game like this calls for. They can't be superheroes, right? They're supposed to be normal human beings. This guy has a terrible haircut. Just realizing that his ears are a little hidden. This one's a little chunky. Let's do a little. I think something I kind of always forget with zombies is that they might be emaciated. They might be sort of like, missing parts of them, but there's still a musculature. So they would still have a furrowed brow. They still have eyebrows potentially. And this, they're gonna have tiny pinpoint pupils. There we go. All right, so now we have some of the outline inked. We're going to get a little thicker, and we are going to start filling this in. Let's go with this. Here we go. So if you're curious about the Kickstarter, if you want to back it, that would be amazing. There's a link in the description of the video. You can go check it out. It's launching on February 21st for Zine Quest. Zine Quest is during the month of February. And I have it that the delivery date is going to be in June, but in all honesty, it's going to be, the zine will be completed and delivered probably long before that. I'm already a third of the way through writing it, so there's not much to go. I just got to finish the character creation portion of it. I'm just gonna get colored in black. Just gonna get that. You know what I didn't do? I didn't ink the pants. Dirt. Okay, I'll do that after. I didn't go over the mouth either. So for all the art that I have to do in this book, it's basically going to be this. It's going to be me well, I don't know, I probably won't do it on stream, all of it, but basically sitting at my desk, just finding time to draw something up. I gotta make sure that it's not all just, different zombies. Because that would get kind of boring in a book, I think. And if any of you have experience with the West End Games D6 system, let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear about your experiences. I think it's a system that kind of doesn't get enough love. I know there's people who absolutely love it, or at least absolutely love Star Wars, the West End game Star Wars, and I get it because it's probably one of, if not the best iteration of Star Wars in a TTRPG. But there's others. There's OpenD6 Adventure, D6 Fantasy, D6 Space, which is basically the Star Wars. They just filed the serial numbers off. But you can use it for so many different things. It's super versatile. And I think with things like, so many people like making their own systems, I think it's definitely worth a look at. It's worth a look at the system as a whole and a way of sort of using an existing system to create what you want and not have to worry about creating mechanics for your own system. They're already there. Kind of like there's a cipher system and basic roleplay. You have those systems there that create you can create your own world, your own game, any genre you want. Yeah, okay. But you can do that with this too, and it's just as good. I like it a lot. I kind of want to see more of it because I was looking on drive-through, and there's not that much. There's some games out there that use it. There's some games out there that have kind of modified it. Like I think the Easy D6 system, I think, is somewhat based on the OpenD6. I may be wrong. I'll probably get shot online for saying that, but I'd like to see more games being made using that system. I mean, there's so many games out there that use sort of D&D or D&D adjacent rules and systems, which is fine. It's a good system, but it's D&D does what it does very well, but it's not a catch-all for everything, nor is it meant to be. All right. Okay, so this, paint this in a bit. Now you're going to see I'm going to start going into sort of heavier shadow. Lots of blacks. Some red, because remember I said everything's red, black, and white in this book. So it's going to be So even the art is just red, black, and white. Originally it was just black and white, but I was like, I think the highlight of just the red made it look kind of cool. And again, this is, you know, my art. I'm obviously not like a comic book artist. I'm not a professional artist. Not much I can do well when it comes to art, but I can at least do my art and release it in my thing, and you know, have it be sort of self-contained. Like all the art, all the writing is all done by one person. It's not a big team. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's not how I can or really will operate. I kind of like that. Kind of like that the art kind of sucks, and you know the writing's good. I know the writing's good, but kind of like that the art kind of sucks. You know, there's sort of a sort of a interesting quality to it when you have like a zine like this where the art, you know, it's not great. Kind of looks cool with someone's weird imagination just putting the stuff into the world, which is what I think zines are supposed to be, right? Just gonna throw a little bit of black in there. We'll probably fill it in with red after, just to make it kind of gory. Like maybe this poor zombie fell down and skinned his knee. So I think the other thing is we're gonna have, once I get to writing the monster list for this, like yes, zombies are obviously the most prevalent creature in this, but there will be probably different types of zombies. There's gonna be zombies that are kind of more um, more sort of viral experiments, let's say. Like they're kind of lab created. So maybe they're. I keep having something like a behemoth bouncing around in my head. So I want to create like this weird sort of cinder block hammer wielding zombie type of creature that will kind of be like super deadly if you ever come up against it. And then, of course, there's rules. If you get bitten by the zombie, you're going to become a zombie very quickly. So then, but you'll still be alive, so your friend's going to kill you right away before you turn into a zombie? They're going to wait till you turn into a zombie to hack you apart? We don't know. We'll find out. There we go. That's inked up nice. Ish. Yeah, it looks interesting. Looks kind of striking. Yeah, I don't know where this is going to go in the book. I'll find a place for it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to throw some red on. I don't want red everywhere. I just want some like highlights of red. Like all here, there's going to be sort of red and gory around the mouth. For sure. Kind of gnarly. I think he needs to look a little sort of beat up here. So let's do some of this like splotches, kind of decaying points. Am I going to fill it completely with black? I want to come out from lip, yeah. There we go. Let's put some on this guy too, on the arm. It's not defined. You can't really tell what it is. It looks like just general gnarliness. So what we're going after, we just want it to be kind of gross and there we go. Let's go back to, actually, you know what? Let's try the Sharpie. There we go. A little bit of this. Obviously, around his shirt would be kind of bloody. All right. I think that's pretty good for 1 hour. I'm going to start. Let's do some erasing on this. I don't think this eraser is very good, but see how it turns out. I may need to add some more shadow, maybe to the legs. Kind of want things to be a little darker, a little shadowier. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan with how this is not taking out the red. I may have made a vital mistake, guys. But it's not terrible. I think this will be the last time I'd use the red for something I'm actually going to publish. Hopefully, maybe the scanner won't pick it up. We'll see. It's not the end of the world if there's a little bit of weird sort of glow about it. Red sort of haloing, I guess you can call it. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not ideal. All right, let's have some more general blackness I want to get on. And yeah, I'm using Sharpies because Sharpies give a nice deep black. I can cover a lot of space while using it. And there we go. There's another piece of zombie art. That's going to end up in my zine for Zine Quest. I need to thicken up. 1 second. I need to thicken this line up. This jagged line by the ribs here from the shirt. I need to make sure that it's clearly defined, that it's the shirt, it's not something else, and it sticks out. There we go. Cool. I think it looks half decent. I'll put it in the zine. Like I said, I'm not an artist, so this is about as good as it's going to get from me. I mean, I have a feeling that the more art that I'm doing for the zine will obviously get better because I'm doing a lot more drawing than I normally do. But I think that'll work for a kind of gross looking zombie type figure. So, thanks for hanging out with me while I was doing some art. I know it wasn't super exciting. Hopefully, it intrigued you guys about what's going on with my zine Among the Corpses. It's kickstarting February 21st. If you want to go check it out, you can click on the link in the description and it'll take you to the coming soon page on Kickstarter, and you can, you know, list yourself as waiting for it. It's got a very low threshold. I'm only, I think I put it at like $300 just to see. It's, you know, it's more of an experiment for me than it is anything else. I think even if it doesn't fund, I'll still end up releasing it at some point. It'll make me I won't be as pressed to finish it, but like I said, I'm kind of planning on having this finished before the Kickstarter ends. So hopefully that's what will happen. But thanks for hanging out with me, and hope you guys had a good time. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you know, you liked watching me draw a kind of bad zombie. And maybe it'll make you go do your own drawing. Anyway, that's it for me. Save a seat for me at your table.